So today I want to talk about a pretty wild trade of baseball players, but it had nothing to do with baseball itself. These baseball players actually traded families.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
You can do that?
Apparently, yes.
If the salaries match up, then...
So in 1972, there were two baseball players for the New York Yankees, your team, Fritz Peterson and Mike Kekich. And they were roommates and very good friends. And so because of that, their families hung out with great regularity. Mostly their wives. They would go out on like double dates pretty frequently.
Kids?
They both have kids,
Okay.
yes. This story is from 1973. Get in the mindset here. You're in that like post-60s era where free love is sort of like more in vogue than it ever has been before, but in the early 70s it started to get real. You know what I mean?
I remember it fondly.
Yes, we all do. Swapping of spouses is, you know, sort of in vogue and becoming a little bit more of a thing. Everyone was doing it.
Keys in the bowl kind of
Sort of like
Yeah.
keys in the bowl sort of a thing.
Like for a night.
Yeah, very rarely were they actually like signing paperwork. But it happened in this scenario. So in the summer of 1972, these four friends go to the party of sports writer Maury Allen's place.
That's very 70s.
It's
Going to
very
a party
70s.
at a sports writer's house?
Yes.
Nobody wants to hang out with sports writers.
No. Then or now.
Yeah.
And afterwards, they have such a good time, they decide to keep things going, in a manner of speaking, by going to a local diner. Let's go out and get something to eat. However, let's drive each other's wives and kind of see how things go. Well, it turns out one of the two couples didn't show up to the diner for another 2.5 hours. So
And the other couple just waited there?
I can only assume that they
I
just...
guess let's get appetizers. Or...
Yeah, we'll have another order of fries, I guess. So they have this party and they hang out afterwards and there's probably some hanky-panky going on and they go, oh, you know what? This is actually really fun. And what all four parties realize is that they're falling in love with the other spouse. And so they decide after a few months to make it a permanent arrangement. Fritz Peterson's going to move into Mike Kekich's house, and Mike Kekich is going to move into Fritz Peterson's house and leave the wives and the kids and even the dogs. They both had dogs. So they were like new dogs they had to take care of. And they just packed a bag and moved into the other guy's house.
I would have loved it if they also left the clothes in the closet, squeeze in.
Very much, I've been thinking about like how much stuff made the move. Like you take your toothbrush, right, and your deodorant.
Those go first.
The dog thing is really sticking with me.
Why?
I don't know, and I have a wife. Like, I should have been more upset by that, but like, you can't take my dog away. The dog definitely was like, something's not right
Something's
here.
not right. You don't smell the same. There's something weird going on here.
How many times do you think one or the other, like, pulled into the driveway, and he was like, oh shit, this isn't my house anymore.
Got the wrong key in the door.
I gotta go to Mike's house.
You don't live here anymore.
Yeah. She loves
damn.
me now.
After a few months, right before the 1973 season started in like March of that year, they decided, okay, look, this is a permanent thing. We're going to stick with it. Word is going to get out. People are going to think, as we did right from this jump, that it's a sex thing, and it's more than that. They kept saying it's not a sex thing, which like, come on.
You're having some
You're
sex.
having
right?
some sex, presumably. So in March, right before the 1973 season, they do two separate press conferences on the same day. Fritz Peterson goes at 10 in the morning, I think, and Mike goes at 4 p.m., or maybe it's the other way. Maybe they switched, I don't know. There's a lot of it going around all the time. So they have these two press conferences on the same day to tell the press, hey, look, here's what's gonna happen, and everyone just be cool about it. So Fritz Peterson and Mike's ex-wife, Suzanne, had a long and fruitful relationship. They are still married to this day, as a matter of fact. And Fritz has no problem like talking about it and being open about it, which kind of makes sense because he, I think, made out like a bandit in this deal. Mike and Marilyn, Fritz's ex-wife, almost immediately were like, oh, this was a mistake. They had like a little bit of an on again, off again thing, and then I think they were like, oh, this is not, I don't know, this
Get
is
out
not.
of my house.
Yeah, could you please leave?
But this is a husband swap, right?
This was absolutely a husband swap. Like, They are the ones who packed up and left.
And it makes sense, right?
Yeah, sure.
They were involved in a profession where people sometimes get traded. So they're used to that. And their wives just probably sat around with baseball cards like, well, my guy, he's great in middle relief, but we need someone who can, strike out lefties, if you know what I mean. So I feel like we can do a... Wait, so with the diner thing, one couple showed up really late.
Yes.
One couple was at the diner just like, I guess we can order more potato skins. I don't know where they are.
So there's this great article written by Gil Troy for the Daily Beast that sort of like summarizes it really well. And he says in the article, that night, they lingered outside the Allen home, then decided to continue to a local Fort Lee diner. And then it says here, Mr. Kekich and Mrs. Peterson arrived for breakfast more than 2.5 hours later.
Wait, okay. So
Mike Kekich and Fritz's wife, Marilyn, they presumably pulled off somewhere and had some hanky-panky, whereas Mr. Peterson and Mrs. Kekich, I guess...
Got to know each other.
Got to know each other over a plate of fries at the diner while they were waiting for them.
Their relationship is the one that
worked out, the one that worked out.
So it seems like they maybe weren't the initiators of this.
They have since said that it was a totally even... All four parties were like all in on it.
Someone had to have been like faking their enthusiasm. Sure, yeah, you could come to my house forever.
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were in development. They didn't swap lives, but they were going to develop this into a movie. They were in talks to produce it as a movie. And Mike Kekich in particular was like, hey, not cool. I'm pretty sure he eventually moved to like Arizona or Nevada or someplace in the Southwest and like even changed his identity. I don't know if that's related. He did do that, but he's like now a sort of notorious recluse. And when he heard about the movie, he was like, no, not cool.
It's like he took a chance once. He made a big swing once. He's not doing it again. It ruined everything.
Yeah, last time someone said they had a good idea, it didn't work out great.
Didn't work out so well.
Ben.
I feels like there's a lesson here. I don't really know what it is because it's got both outcomes. Like it worked out for one couple. If they both broke up and it was like all four people were devastated, then it's like, okay, don't do this. And if it worked out for both of them, then it's like, oh, everyone should wife swap.
Rush out to wife swap.
I'm sorry, I'm hung up on the dogs. If my dog is watching this, I want her to know that I wouldn't trade her for any dog.
Trudy, do you want to address her
Trudy.
directly?
Trudy, you're my world. I wouldn't trade you for anything.
That's sweet. I like that. No dog swapping for Seth. No. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to hear more about baseball players who switch but with a little less scandal attached to it, you can watch this episode of Weird Rules right here, or watch another one of our videos here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications and all that stuff.